The Knight. This story takes place in Haifa in the year 1920. Amu Esfandiar, come and look, shouted the little boy. Curious, Esfandiar walked to the window where the little boy was peering out onto the street below. Isn't it amazing? Said the wide-eyed little boy. It looks like it's for a king. Esfandiar looked out of the window. Parked below was the most elegant car he had ever seen. Esfandiar and the little boy watched as the driver, dressed in a dark suit and tie, stepped out of the car. With a spotless handkerchief, he started to wipe all traces of dust from the car. Amu Esfandiar, the little boy turned to Esfandiar. What's that fancy car doing here? That car has come to take Abdu'l-Baha to a very special ceremony, Esfandiar explained. Abdu'l-Baha is going to be knighted today. Wow, he's going to become a knight, exclaimed the little boy. But why? On behalf of the King of England, the British governor is thanking Abdu'l-Baha for all that he did for the people of Haifa and Akka during the war, said Esfandiar. The little boy looked confused. Let me explain, said Esfandiar patiently. Before the war started, Abdu'l-Baha asked the Baha'is near the Sea of Galilee to grow plenty of wheat and corn. But rather than sell the grain they harvested, Abdu'l-Baha asked them to store it instead. But why would they store all the grain? Why not just sell it at the market? Asked the little boy. That's what the Baha'is thought too, said Esfandiar. They couldn't understand why all this grain should be stored. But then the war started. Haifa and Akka were cut off from most of the world, and people were worried that there wouldn't be enough food for everyone. Oh, so Abdu'l-Baha gave them the grain, exclaimed the little boy. That's right, smiled Esfandiar. Because of Abdu'l-Baha's wisdom and generosity, thousands of families, whatever their religion or nationality, had enough to eat. And that is why the king wants to honor Abdu'l-Baha with a knighthood. The little boy's eyes sparkled as he imagined Abdu'l-Baha being knighted. But then his smile disappeared. But Amu Esfandiar, he said with a whisper, why aren't you taking Abdu'l-Baha to the ceremony? You always drive him everywhere with your carriage. Esfandiar let out a gentle sigh. Today's occasion demands something grander, more luxurious and comfortable. The little boy could see that Esfandiar was feeling a little sad. He wondered if Esfandiar wished that he could drive Abdu'l-Baha to the ceremony. Then, as though Esfandiar knew what the boy was thinking, he turned to him, smiling. As you know, he said, worldly honors and fancy ceremonies mean little to Abdu'l-Baha. He has accepted the knighthood as someone would accept a gift. Even still, surely for this occasion, a beautiful and comfortable car is more fitting than a slow and humble carriage. The little boy was quiet as he thought about Esfandiar's words. He then gave his Amu a wave and ran down the stairs to play. As he reached downstairs, he heard a commotion of activity. Where is Abdu'l-Baha? The members of the household were asking worriedly. The car is waiting for him and he's nowhere to be seen. I wonder where he is, thought the little boy as he headed towards the orange tree at the back of the garden. He spotted the biggest, brightest fruit and carefully climbed up the trunk to the highest branch. Delicious, he thought as he picked the juicy orange. Suddenly, he heard footsteps under the tree. It was Abdu'l-Baha. He was walking towards Esfandiar, who had come to the stables to tend to the horses. The little boy saw Esfandiar's eyes light up with joy. Abdu'l-Baha wants Esfandiar to take him to the ceremony, realized the little boy, his face beaming. He doesn't want to travel in that fancy car. Abdu'l-Baha has never wished for comfort for himself, nor has he ever wanted to come across as being better or more important than anyone else. Without a word, Esfandiar prepared the carriage. Within a few minutes, he was driving Abdu'l-Baha to the governor's house. The little boy stuffed the orange in his pocket, his heart beating with excitement. He clambered down the tree and ran out onto the street. Taking a shortcut through the old city, he ran through the small alleyways and winding streets, until at last he arrived at the house of the British governor. Pausing to catch his breath, the little boy looked up at the high wall surrounding the house. He spotted an old olive tree with branches that drooped over into the governor's garden. His love for oranges had made him a good climber, and so he quickly climbed up to the very top of the tree. Peering down into the garden below, the little boy saw a large crowd of guests. There were Muslim, Christian, and Jewish leaders and important people from all over the city. A large tent had been pitched in the garden, and British soldiers stood in line waiting for the arrival of Abdu'l-Baha's car. A military musical band stood ready at the gate to announce Abdu'l-Baha's entrance. But where was Abdu'l-Baha? The little boy watched as Abdu'l-Baha, quietly yet majestically, walked in through the side entrance of the garden, on time and without any pomp, and with Esfandiar by his side. What a surprise to the guests, who had been expecting him to arrive through the main entrance and in the fancy car. The band began to play in celebration, and the ceremony began. From the top of the tree, the little boy looked across at Abdu'l-Baha and smiled widely. Abdu'l-Baha was truly the most humble knight there ever was.